Hello, it's Joe here from Fun Kids. I'm in the kitchen, gonna get my bake on with one of Cathryn Dresser's recipes from her new book, Let's Bake. She's from the Great British Bake Off, so we've got some incredible recipes in here. Now, Cat, what are we gonna make?
We are going to make some Honey Bee Biscuits.
Amazing. They sound absolutely delicious. So, take us through, what do we need to do first?
Okay, so first of all, our first ingredient is our 125 grams of unsalted butter. Usually unsalted in a sweet recipe, so...
Okay, if there is only salted available, is that able to use, or should you really go for the unsalted butter on these?
If you can, on a sweet recipe, use unsalted. If you've only got salted, in the recipe it does say add a pinch of salt. Just leave out that pinch of salt and you'll be fine.
Perfect.
Yeah. And this butter is slightly soft, so that's another thing to watch in your list of ingredients. Sometimes it will tell you you need soft butter or cold butter, so we need slightly soft butter.
Okay.
And to that we're going to add our icing sugar, and then with our electric mixer we're going to give that a bit of a mix together.
Amazing. So I take it we're going to put that in.
Stick it in a bit. A tip is, if you sort of mash it about a little bit first, you won't get the big icing sugar cloud.
It's not going to go right up in my face.
I shouldn't have told you because it would have been fun.
Here we go. So we're going to switch this on. There we go. Oh, we're getting it flat all over. Lovely, cloudy icing mix just there.
Yeah, that's creamed together really nicely. So now is the honey for the Honey Bee Biscuits. You need that. That's a tablespoon of just runny honey.
Lovely.
And we're just going to mix that in as well.
Cool. I'm using the whisk. Here we go. That's going to make it nice and sweet, I can imagine.
Yeah, nice honey flavour.
Perfect.
And you can keep that going. We just need our egg whites, which will help to bind it all together.
Perfect.
And I'm going to just chuck in my flour. You can turn it off for a second, otherwise we'll both get covered. Look like it's been snowing.
Don't want that one. Okay.
And then if you just put this on quite a low speed, because we're just bringing it together now.
Okay, so we can...
That's it. Just a little pinch of salt.
Perfect. And we're just going to put this together. So...
And you should see it come together to form a dough in a minute.
Perfect.
You should. That's it. That can come out, that's good.
Perfect.
So just with a little extra dust of flour, I've got a little bowl here of extra flour, which I'm just going to put on the board.
And I guess that's just to stop it from sticking to the board?
It's to stop it sticking to the board, exactly that.
What's next? We've got the mixture all together.
We have, and it is quite sticky still, but what we need to do is we just need to form it into a sausage shape, and then I'm going to divide it in half, put it in cling film. We're going to roll it in some sugar, and then we're going to pop it in the fridge to set up. And then the beauty of this is, they're biscuits, you don't need a rolling pin, so because we've made it into a sausage, when they come out of the fridge, you just chop them into discs on your baking tray and you're good.
Wow, it sounds so nice and easy, and I think that is the special thing about this book. Like, I don't do much baking, but would I be able to have a go at all of these recipes? You
definitely would. There's a whole range of recipes. There's some really simple stuff. If you've never baked anything before, you'd definitely be able to have some success with some of the, well, all of the recipes in the book. But similarly, if you are already a baker, there are things in here which, you know, there's some bread and there's buns and there's a whole variety, so it's something for everybody.
And imagine that this is the first time that I've ever set foot in the kitchen. Is there any recipe in particular that you think I should start off with?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is there a particularly easy one, perhaps, that I could have a go at?
I would say, what about, I've got a really nice recipe for some sausage rolls, which the pastry is already pre-made. You just add a few extras, you assemble it, and then you bake them, and you're good, but they're good. I've
got to say, sausage rolls are my favourite, so I think I'm going to have a look at that when I look at the book after this.
So what I'm doing now is, it's very sticky, which is what we want, because we're going to roll it in this lovely Demerara sugar, which is going to stick all around the outside. Now we need to chill this, and we need to wrap it in cling film. Now to try and wrap this big thing in cling film would be a complete nightmare, so we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to wrap each half separately. Just make it easier, and it will chill a bit quicker too. Just going to literally cut it in half.
Straight down the middle.
Straight down the middle.
Lovely.
And then there's one, and there's the other. Just pick up that last little bit of sugar. It'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I've got my cling film here. So then I'm just going to lay it on the top of my sausage and slightly bring it back, and then lift it up, and we're going to wrap it like a sweet would be wrapped. So you just roll it in the cling film as tightly as you can, but without, and then twist the ends.
Okay, so our mixtures are nicely wrapped up in cling film. What is the next step, Kat?
I'm going to pop them just onto a plate, and then I'm going to put them in the fridge, probably for about 20 minutes, half an hour, until the butter firms up and they're nice and hard, so I can cut them into discs and make them into biscuits.
Ideal. So that mixture is now setting in the fridge, and we've got some more stuff to be getting on with, because I'm assuming that if they're going to be Honey Bee biscuits, they need to look like honey bees somehow. So how are we going to do that, Kat?
Well, we've got just a few little bits and pieces we're going to use for decoration. So we've got just some yellow fondant, which you just buy in the supermarket.
Perfect.
So I'm giving you some because you're going to make some bees.
Okay, cool.
Then you want to take a little ball.
Take a little
Doesn't
ball.
really matter how big. You
Cool.
decide how big or small you want your bee to be.
Thank you.
And then we're just going to roll it into like a little oval shape.
An oval shape.
Well,
wow.
you know, or
Here
a
we go.
circle. You just
That's
be
more of
creative.
a sausage shape than an oval, but
Sausage shape, bee shape.
V shape. That would be a good way of thinking of it. So.
So now we need little bits of black. We're just going to roll them into little sausages in the palm of your hand, like such, and they're obviously going to be the bee stripes. Cute.
Magic.
And if you see, I've put in little eyes, and now the only thing that he needs are wings, else he's not going to be able to fly. So look at these, I've got these little flaked almonds, and you just stick them into the fondant.
How amazing. Ah, so now it's a
That's a
bee
little
that can
bee.
see and it can fly.
Exactly.
Perfect. So I think that the biscuit mixtures, are they going to be ready by now?
Should be. I'm going to have a look.
Let's take a look and see. I'm excited by this.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
How do we know that they're done?
You just, when you give it a little, you just want to be able to feel it, and you're going to cut them into discs. So if it's too soft to cut, leave it in for a bit longer.
Okay.
But this feels fine.
Things are good and ready.
So then I'm just going to cut them into discs. Now the ends are not very neat, so that can just be the chef's perk. We can just try that, can be the tester.
Okay.
So these are good. These can go in the oven.
Perfect.
I'm going to let you pop them in the oven.
So the oven is set to what temperature?
It's preheated to 180. Now I didn't preheat it right at the very start of the recipe. I waited until it told me to in the recipe, because you don't want to waste energy. You don't need your oven on for longer than it needs to be. So look out in your recipe for the right time to preheat your
Perfect.
oven.
So the biscuits are out, they've been in for about 10 minutes or so, and we've left them to cool on this rack, and they're now nice and cool, which means I think we're ready for the final step. What is that, Kat?
We're ready for the bees,
Oh.
the decoration. So I've got just a little tiny bit of honey, which we're going to use as our glue.
Perfect. Did the bees make this honey?
Yes.
Good. Well, I think that yours did anyway. I think that mine probably struggled somewhat, but
They've been busy bees.
they have, exactly.
So all you do, brush them. I'm going to let you do it.
Because I'm capable of doing this bit.
Just brush a little bit of honey on the top and choose a bee.
As easy as that. I better go for one of mine, because I'm not going to take credit for your lovely bees. Here we go. It's my one-eyed bee. And that is going to go right on top there.
That's amazing.
Voila.
I'm gonna do one too.
Perfect. And the great thing is about these biscuits is that they cool really quickly,
They do.
which means that we can eat them straight away, can't we?
We can.
Perfect. I think I'm going to have to tuck into it. But don't forget that you can make these all using Kat's new book, Let's Bake. These are the Honey Bee Biscuits, so make sure that if you want to have a go and make your bees a little bit better than mine, then have a go yourselves. I'm buzzing to eat this.